Hello and welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining to talk about the 2021 Buffalo Bills NFL football team preview is a man who needs no introduction, but we're going to give him one anyway, the football encyclopedia, a man who knows what color shirt he was wearing on what day of the week, the first time that he saw the Buffalo Bills play football. It's Mr. Vincent Turner. How's it going, Mr. Turner?
How you doing, Mr. Long? I'd like to say before we get started, happy July 4th to everybody, and I hope that everybody enjoys Monday today to continue their July 4th weekend. And God bless you on 100 Yards of Football.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing is like everybody, hope you had a great 4th of July weekend. And if you're up, early on a Monday joining us for this live stream and you got to get back to work or you have to get back to your business and you don't get to sleep in today, then I'm so glad that you chose to join us and hang out with us while we do our preview for the Buffalo Bills. Well, without further ado, Mr. Vincent Turner, please tell us what's going on with the Buffalo Bills for this next season and what does that fan base have to look forward to?
Well, I'm going to tell you about the Buffalo Bills, the 716, baby. Mm-hmm. And what they did last year in 2020 was special. Can I say something, Jeremiah? I'm going to say this about the AFC East. Mm-hmm. The king is dead. Long live the king. The king is dead. It's a new sheriff in town by the name of the Buffalo Bills. Because we all know the New England Patriots won the AFC East with Tom Brady 11 straight times. But they changed last season. And when I think about Buffalo, the season they had in 2020, I'll go back to the royalty. I'm going to go back with the history of the Buffalo Bills, the 1960s when they was winning the AFL championships, when the AFL had not merged with the NFL. And them teams in the 60s had Jack Kemp, Cookie Gilchrist, Paul McGuire, Billy Shaw, Pete Golak. And you was looking at Western New York and you were saying, wow, they got something special in the 60s going on in New York. And then the 70s came. And then that young man really put him on the map. The young man out of USC, Galileo High School by the name of O.J. Simpson. And you go back to the 1973 season when he had over 2,000 yards. And you think about all them great teammates he had. Yeah. Peg Sewell at quarterback, Joe Ferguson. Then he had my man at the University of Michigan, Reggie McKenzie. Then he had the young man out of Stockton, California, J.D. Hill. Yeah. And we remember the Bills of the 70s. But they didn't ascend to the late 1980s and early 90s. 4 straight Super Bowls. And that's when Western New York was born, in my opinion. Yes. When the great Jim Kelly came aboard. The young man out of Oklahoma State, Thurman Thomas. Andre Reed. The young man from Virginia Tech, Bruce Smith. Yes. Oh, my God. Even though the Bills didn't win any of those Super Bowls, but that was a great time in the National Football League, and we got to give history to them teams right there. But however, let's look at the Buffalo Bills now. Right now, 2020. And I'm going to go back to last season. The king is dead. Long live the king. No more New England. It's the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to start with the coaching staff before I get in depth about the Bills in 2021. Yeah. Sean McDermott, you're doing your thing in Buffalo. A disciple of Jim Johnson. Man, look what he's done with that Buffalo Bills team and turned around that organization. Then I'm going to start with his coordinators. Brian Daboll. Whoever thought that this guy was going to be a tremendous offensive mind to turn Josh Allen around at the quarterback position. And then the defensive coordinator. We need to lobby for this man to get a head job out of the SWAC. Leslie Frazier, Super Bowl ring 1985 with the Chicago Bears. Alcorn State finest out of the secondary. Mark Harper, Ronell Young, Isaac Hope. Man, this young man needs to get a job because Buffalo is going to have one of the best defenses in 2021. Yeah. Now let's start with the offensive side. Let's start the quarterback position. Josh Allen. Before last season, everybody was considering him a bust. But what he showed me the season he had in 2020, the young man went to work. He worked in all season. Out of a little town outside Fresno, California, Wyoming University. He came to live last year. And think about what he done that's so special. I call him the flavor of Vince Young. That's his new nickname. I'm going to call him the new flavor of Vince Young. Man, the young man, before the season started, everybody was questioning, was he a bust? Everybody was questioning his accuracy. Everybody was questioning, did he have it? But all I know is this. Look what he did last year, 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns, broke Jim Kelly's record. This is what really I loved about Josh Allen, why I really feel good about the Buffalo Bills' future. He went from 58% as a passer to 67%. Man, he working. 8 300-yard games.
Yeah.
And last year, 46 total touchdowns. Man, he was special. Then I'm going to go to the running back position. Devin Singletary and Zach Moss are solid, over 4 yards a carry last year.
Yeah.
Then let's go to the receiver position. Now, I got to give a lot of love. We've been talking about football people here, but let's give it to the GM, Brandon Beane.
Yeah.
You want to know why? He made the trade of the century. He brought over a young man from Minnesota. He was telling us all along he was one of the top 3 in the game. He was the best route runner in the game. And a reason that we probably kind of didn't give him respect when he was playing over there in Minnesota because he was a 5th-round draft pick. But, boy, he told us that he was going to be special over there in Buffalo. And his name is Stephon Diggs. And I'm going to tell you, I didn't see it coming. Last year, it's no question about it.
Yeah.
Him and Devontae Adams of the Green Bay Packers, 1 or 2 were the best receivers in the game. Yeah. Stephon put on a magical show. 127 receptions, 1,500 yards. Oh, my God, 8 touchdowns. Averaging over 12 yards a pitch. You got to give Brandon Beane a lot of credit for bringing that young man over.
Yeah.
Then think about it, the other player that's at the wide receiver position. I call him Shem Shady out of SMU, Cole Beasley. Might be the best slot receiver in the game. 82 receptions last year, 853 yards.
Yeah.
Then they had a guy named Gabriel Davis. John Brown went down with an injury last year, the fastest guy on the team. Gabriel Davis out of Central Florida, averaged 17 yards a catch, 7 touchdowns. So the receiver position is solid for Josh Allen. Yeah. Then another thing, the offensive line is going to be better. They had injuries last year, but that's all right, though. They're going to be healthy this year. Deion Dawkins, you better listen to that name, the left tackle out of Temple. He's a player. Cody Ford, Boomer Sooner, he's a player. Mitch Morse is a quality veteran. He has experience. Darrell Williams is a player. That offensive line is going to be healthy this year. And think about this. The Buffalo Bills offense scored 501 points last year. With that offensive line, and you got the ascending of Josh Allen, the second coming of Vince Young, with an arm now, Buffalo is going to be dangerous offensively. But this is where I look at the Bills becoming a Super Bowl team on the defensive side of the ball. We all know they got the young man out of the University of Houston last year that was double team and triple team. He loves horses. Ed Oliver. Last year had 23 tackles, had 3 sacks, but really didn't get any help. But help is on its way. The young man out of Utah who had some great years over there at Carolina that played for Sean McDermott when he was a defensive coordinator. I'll call him Mr. Style is coming. He opted out in 2020. Then they went into the draft and they got 2 guys that can rush the passer. Greg Rousseau out of the University of Miami, he's coming. He had 19.5 sacks in 2019. Carlos Basserman out of Wake Forest is coming. Another guy they drafted, 36 tackles for losses in his career. Then they got the 2 veterans coming back, Jerry Hughes and Mario Addison. That D-line is going to be stacked. Boy, it's looking like Super Bowl. Then I'm going to go back to the linebacker position. This is where Buffalo made another key acquisition. I got to give Brandon Beane, the GM, more love now. Matt Milano. Bills Nation, I'm so glad y'all brought him back. You talking about a football player. You talking about a guy that's solid. You talking about a glue guy. 172 tackles solo in 44 games. And they was family, graceful, Brandon Bean. Y'all brought Matt Milano back. Happy 4 years, 44 million. And then you got who I call a guy that ain't even scratched the surface. The middle linebacker, 6'5", 260, out of Virginia Tech. Came in the league at 20 years old. Since he's been in the league, he's had 3 straight seasons, over 100 tackles. Had 141 last year. Tremaine Edmonds is a star in the making. He's finessing now that Buffalo's got some help in the D-line. And then finally, I'm going to talk about the secondary. It's Super Bowl caliber. I'm going to start with the young man out of LSU. First round pick in 2017. Fell to the end of the first draft. A lot of people saying he was underrated. But Tre'Davious White, we could call him lock the door corner. He's elite. 15 interceptions, 54 pass breakups, 238 tackles since he's been in the league. That's why Leslie Frazier can get real creative on the defensive side of the ball. Then his running partner on the other side, Roll Tide. He came in the league 4 years as an undrafted free agent. Man, didn't nobody think he was even going to make the team. But he came out of the system on Nick Saban. His name is Levi Wallace. And he's been a great player for 4 years, and I call him a warrior. And you know how I do it. Warriors come out to play. Then you got the safety positions. Yes. Both of these young men, they're over 30 now, but they solid. Might be the best safety tandem in the league. 194 tackles last year. And I put them up against any safety group. Jordan Poyer and Mike Hyatt. Mike Hyatt. Let me get my pronunciation right. They are football players. And they are solid. Then they got the best slot corner in the game, Tyron Johnson out of Weber State. And you saw what he did in the playoff game last year. They're electrifying. 101-yard interception return against the Baltimore Ravens. This is a good football team that's going to have Western New York at another level. The 716 is going to be special, man. I like everything about him. Organization-wise, Brandon Bean is one of the upcoming GMs in the league. The coaching staff, Sean McDermott, is coming. He is doing his thing out there in Buffalo, New York. Leslie Frazier, Brian Daboll, they are doing it, man. This is a solid football team. And their quarterback is starting to come into superstar status. Think about one more time what Josh Allen did from an offensive standpoint. He went from 58% accuracy to 69%. He went to 4,500 yards passing. He broke the Buffalo Bills franchise record. Jim Kelly's record, who got the Bills to 4 Super Bowls. That's a special plan. It's a special organization. Then to the Buffalo Bill fans who I dedicate this video today. They, my good friends here in the Metro Atlanta area. I'm starting with Gary Flakes. I'm going to start with my man over there at rollingout.com, Mr. Donald Guy Lee. I'm going to start with my man who moved back to Buffalo, Mr. Wayne Solomon. Y'all got something special. And then, of course, to one of the greatest players that played in the NBA, Bob Lanier. Yes. Buffalo is finna sin. And before I end it today, it's always something when I think about the Buffalo Bills. I think about when I was a freshman in high school, Jeremiah. I first stepped on campus, one of my greatest musicians of all time. It hurt my heart when he went to glory. He had a band called Stone City, Rick James. So this is what I want to dedicate to the Buffalo Bills nation today. You know the song he had out. She's a very kinky girl. The kind you don't bring home to mama. She will never let the experience down. No. Josh Allen, Ed Oliver, they finna do something super freaky in Buffalo, and they might end up in LA. So if you like the video, please comment and share it. I give it back over to our producer, Mr. Jeremiah Long, to take us home this morning.
Whew, that was huge. And I would just like to say thank you to you, Mr. Turner, for putting that great breakdown of the Buffalo Bills together. I'll tell you this, when I was a kid and the 3 years the Buffalo Bills went to the Super Bowl versus the 49ers, I was there for the Bills. I was like, let's go. I mean, I love Montana Rice, but and I love that entire team too. And it was great to see those teams face each other. But I was hoping the Bills were going to win each of those 3 times, and to see, I think that they didn't quite pull it out any of those 3 times. But I'll tell you that we're talking about a classic team here, a team that is becoming dominant again. And as New England wanes, Buffalo, waxes, and we're about to see some really great things. So for anybody watching, make sure that you share and like the video, because those shares over to Facebook, over to the Facebook groups, just telling your friends and family about us and everything in between has been so amazing and helpful for us to grow our brand and to get our name out there. And if you have just started watching us, thank you so much for watching us. We are 100 Yards of Football, Sports Talk Radio. Every week, we bring you amazing coverage of all of the teams from college all the way up to the NFL. But we also like to bring you information about the up-and-coming high school players, the interviews with great legendary players, alumni, and even up-and-coming players. Like we interviewed a great draft pick who got drafted in the NFL draft just right before the draft was through. So thank you so much for that. And lastly, I just want to make sure if you're watching us, thank you. But if you're not listening to our podcast yet, jump over and listen to our podcast. It's at 100 Yards of Football, anywhere that you listen to podcasts, on Apple, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, or anywhere else that you like to listen to podcasts. Well, for our whole team, I'm Jeremiah Long, the producer, and Mr. Vincent Turner. You got any final words?
I'm going to say this. When you look at the Buffalo Bills, it's going to be special in 2021. I think this football team is the favorite to win the AFC East. And like the great Rick James, the Stone City Band, it's going to be a super freak out there at Buffalo. And to all my Buffalo Bill fans, I'm going to say their name one more time because I'm going to give them a shout because they're good friends of mine. Wayne Solomon, I love you, brother. Go Buffalo. Mm-hmm. Mr. Gary Flakes, I love you, brother. Go Buffalo. Mr. Donald Guy Lee, I love you, baby. Go Buffalo. And to the great Bob Lanier, former Detroit Piston from Buffalo, New York, I love you. To the nation, Bills Mafia, y'all have a phenomenal week. And good luck in 2021.
Yes, sir.